right, welcome back to the D2D Real Estate Show. Duane, let's talk about where to door knock.
Great. So there's 3 or 4 different places that we typically knock. Depends on what you're hunting for which client. Land, condos and townhomes, get into fix and flips, and you can also find investment properties such as duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, in which you knock into.
Okay, so if you're going to try to find a flip, like what kind of neighborhood are you going to go after?
I'm going to go to areas that are a little bit lower income, areas that haven't been updated, homes that are about 20 years old, and knock through it and find ones that we could find off market, especially just because then we can double side, or we can help investors buy the property, but even better when we can invest ourselves.
Well, and look at the income that comes from those. I mean, you and I have both done flips together.
We have.
Way better than a real estate commission. Way better.
For sure.
And here's the thing with flips, and we could do a total podcast on flips at some point, but you don't even need your own money to get the flips. You can find the money to get the flips. I think part of the issue with the flips is just finding the flip. That's really the hardest part. It's way easier to find the money to buy the flip. But door knocking gets you in there before anybody else.
Very true.
And so I think when people consider door knocking for a real estate commission strategy, that is a good strategy, but an even better strategy is door knocking to find your own real estate investments.
I think the funny thing is most people don't know that they could sell their house in the condition it's in. So they just deal with it until they can get up enough money to saved to go ahead and buy that next property. So getting to them first and talking to them through it and saying, hey, we can help you get this sold regardless of the condition. You don't have to dump a bunch of money into it. Because that's one of the biggest things is they think that they need to save a bunch of money and fix it up before they can sell it.
Yeah. And you can provide a very easy solution to them. So, okay, door knocking for flips is great. So you mentioned door knocking for land. So I've sold hundreds of acres of land, and one of the ways that land can be found is through door knocking. Farmers are great places to door knock. Land is a great place to door knock, and we'll do another episode at some point and dive deep into the land aspect of it. But really, just like you're going to door knock into a flip, door knocking into land is what is an awesome way to fill a pipeline for real estate commissions.
Craig, you've got a master's degree in real estate development. Tell us what the average commission would be on a land acquisition.
Oh man, here's the thing that's crazy about land. I mean, these land prices could be millions of dollars, but when it comes to the commissions on land, it's so easy to pick up 6% commission. And so, like for instance, right now I've got a $3 million piece of land under contract at a 3% commission that's coming to me. There's another agent involved getting 3% as well, and so that's $90,000, and that's coming to me here in about 2 or 3 months. But I've got millions of dollars of other land under contract as well. And so the commissions on land can be excellent.
And why is it that you don't have to worry about commission splits?
There's a lot of technical expertise required for land. So if you gain that expertise, the sellers understand that and appreciate that. So if you have network yourself into the buyers, and I can teach you exactly how to do that, and again, another episode of the podcast, but network yourself into the buyers, the builders, the developers who are looking for land, and understand what they're looking for and the specs that they're looking for, and then having the technical expertise to understand the entitlement process and what the maximum, the highest and best use would be for a particular piece of land. That takes a lot of talent, and sellers are willing to pay for that talent, and they're willing to pay for you to bring a buyer to the deal. And it's easy to bring and double side these land deals. It's easy to partner the land owner with the buyer.
So you're saying if you pick up the listing, you could find a developer, make both of the commissions,
the
listing side and the buyer side.
Yeah.
How often can you take it past entitlements to where they're building and you can represent the lots as well?
So that's another really good question. It depends on the size of the project. Typically, if you're going to represent a very large developer, they will often have their in-house real estate agents that will then sell the properties, the homes once they're constructed after the builder has gone vertical. So it's harder with a bigger project. But when these small and mid-sized projects, these developers, these builders are very willing to work with real estate agents to also then sell the properties once they're constructed. So, which I've enjoyed the opportunity to do many times in my career. And what an awesome way to fill up a pipeline. Selling out a 20-lot subdivision, a 13-lot subdivision where the homes go up, and you're the exclusive agent. And these builders and developers reward you. You brought them the land to begin with. So you get the commission on the land, then you get the commission on all the homes that go up.
Well, and you can make it contingent upon you representing them too.
Easy.
So doing that, I mean, you're making 30 or 40 sales off one contact you make. that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket.
Absolutely. And it comes because you went and found a property that no one else knew about, and you got there because you door knocked to find it. Because otherwise, if it's just right there on the MLS or some other commonly researched website, there are going to be a lot of agents that are going to present that to the builder. But you can bring them something that's unique. They will then use you to sell the properties the homes that they build on that land.
That's awesome. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to learn every detail about that, because that's one transaction that could turn into a lot of money.
And it just takes two simple skills: understanding how to door knock it and then understanding the land.
That's awesome. Let's dive into condos a little bit. As you're looking for an area to knock, Craig, how would you find out values?
So for me, I mean, I like to look for areas where properties are turning over quickly. And so I like to do a map-based search and then find the neighborhoods where properties sell quickly. Townhomes and condos typically will have a higher turnover rate. And then you can find, I mean, using your MLS tools, there's ways to analytically understand how much, what the median sales price would be in a neighborhood. But I would think you want to marry that concept along with the concept of how fast something turns over. If you're going to go into a multi-million-dollar neighborhood, great, go door knock it, but how many properties are selling there? If there is a high turnover there with a multi-million-dollar, median house price, yeah, go door knock that neighborhood. But I think what we encounter in these more established neighborhoods are probably going to be lower turnover. But I think you've had a lot of success with the condos and townhomes. Get more doors knocked per hour, right?
Right. It's a lot faster to get to people. A lot of that stereotype or typical people are home earlier in the day. They're not at a high income level, and so they're not working crazy hours running a business. Usually it's a first-time starter home, and they're oftentimes home during the day, earlier in the evenings. The other cool thing about that is you've got a ton of people that can afford a $350,000 condo. And so your buyer pools are huge. You're not having to look for the person that qualifies for a jumbo loan.
And would you not say that these townhome sellers are going to then be buyers themselves in a move-up situation?
That's the cool thing about this. When you connect with somebody like that, you're going to pick up the buy and the sell. So you sell the condo for $350,000, and 99% of the time they're going to upgrade to a $500,000 to $600,000 home. At which point you're picking up almost $1 million in real estate off of one person you talk to.
It's
great.
Awesome.
It is great.
So, random question: have you tried door knocking more expensive neighborhoods, and what's it been like?
I have. Man, it's hard because you get people that are very professional. It's hard to catch them home. When you catch them home, it's the last thing you want to do is get an interrupted appointment. They want to be scheduled when they're home. They want to be doing what they want to do, and they have all the money in the world in multi-million-dollar neighborhoods, so they don't need someone to just pop in. They appreciate the hustle, but getting them to move is very, very difficult because they've got to gain trust. They always know someone, and they feel like that they trust them better. So there's a lot of ways that you have to gain trust with those type of clients in order to earn their business. So from my experience, it's 10 times harder to pick up a listing in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood.
Okay, so you stick primarily to condos, townhomes, and then other areas that you've researched.
And starter homes. I mean, if you can get into homes that are $450,000 to $500,000, those guys are also going to upgrade into the bigger homes. They're not in their forever home. Whereas a multi-million-dollar home, they're in their forever home. They don't plan on moving every 3 to 4 years, which is typical.
So an agent asked me the other day about the effectiveness of door knocking and not believing it to be an effective strategy. So what I did, I said, okay, let's pull up a neighborhood where you live. Let's pull up where you live, and let's see how many homes sold in your neighborhood in the last year. She was shocked to find there were like a few dozen sales, 5 or 6 dozen, right in the maybe a 1 by 1 mile, 1 mile by 1 mile square, right in her neighborhood. And then I asked her the question: had you been door knocking or making your presence known in this community, doing community events, whatever it is, to network into these people? How many of these deals would you have picked up yourself in the last year? And how many do you need to actually have a really, really healthy income? And then what's even better, so that was just her neighborhood. If you're going to, as an agent, door knock and hyper focus on an area, why don't you find one that has higher turnover than the 5 or 6 dozen? And so right before we jumped on this podcast, I went, I just did some searching in some neighborhoods, and I found a neighborhood that 1 mile by 1 mile square, 128 sales.
In a mile square.
Yeah, and these weren't condos or townhomes too. These were more starter homes, detached single-family homes. 128 sales in the last 12 months. That's over 10 a month.
That's crazy.
How many of those do you need to pick up? someone could literally just door knock that neighborhood only weekly and have a really, really healthy income.
I think that's the thing that most people don't think about is how much turnover is actually there. And it's right in their own neighborhood. If they built that out, I mean, the average real estate agent selling 5 homes a year. And if you could pick up even 30% of that, that's insane. That's 40 homes.
Yeah.
That puts you making $300,000 to $400,000.
Yeah. Easy.
Just in your own neighborhood where people get to know you and you live there and they trust you.
So anyway, any additional tips before we close this one out?
No, I think the biggest thing is just getting out there and finding the clients because they're there. You're with neighborhoods that you have unlimited clients you can talk to. And as long as you get out there, there are people that want to transact. They just haven't had the opportunity to talk to somebody.
Be first to the door. Get it done. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining this podcast today for the D2D Real Estate Show.